Hey, welcome back. I'm Ibnul J. Farabi, and this is the Unraveling Thread. You know, living in New York, you see the future rolling by quietly. It's not in the skyscrapers anymore, it's on the streets. Electric taxis, delivery bikes, the quiet hum of a passing bus with no exhaust pipe. We're told this is the green revolution, a clean break from the fossil-fueled past. And I want to believe that. As an engineer, the elegance of the technology inspires me. But as a storyteller, I've learned that every revolution, no matter how shiny, casts a shadow. And today, we're going to follow one of those shadows to a place of blinding white, to the high-altitude salt flats of South America, to unravel the hidden cost of the battery that powers our world. We're talking about lithium, the lightest metal, the key ingredient in every lithium-ion battery that powers your phone, your laptop, and most importantly, the electric vehicle. It's been called white gold, and the Saudi Arabia of this white gold is the Lithium Triangle, a vast region spanning parts of Chile, Argentina, and Bolivia. Specifically, the Salar de Atacama in Chile. It's an otherworldly landscape, a stark, flat expanse of salt crust stretching to the horizon, under a relentless sky. Beneath that crust lies a treasure, vast pools of lithium-rich brine. To extract it, companies pump this brine into massive evaporation ponds, where the sun and wind work for months to concentrate the lithium. It sounds almost natural, doesn't it? Harnessing the elements. But here's where our thread begins to fray. That brine isn't just lithium. It's part of a delicate, ancient hydrological system. Pumping it out is like pulling a plug from a bathtub you can't see. The water table drops, and in one of the driest deserts on Earth, water is life. The consequences are devastatingly simple. Freshwater springs and lagoons, used for centuries by indigenous communities like the Atacama and the Licanantay, are vanishing. Vegetation dies. Flamingos, whose fragile ecosystems depend on these micro-lagoons, are abandoning nesting sites. The very brine extraction process consumes millions of liters of fresh water in a place where communities have to have it trucked in. So you have this surreal, painful irony. A technology heralded for mitigating global environmental collapse is causing a local, immediate environmental and human collapse. This is the first curse. The thirst of the green revolution is literally draining life from the land. But the story deepens, as they always do. This isn't just an environmental issue. It's a profound socio-political one. These salt flats aren't empty. They're the ancestral home of communities with deep spiritual and cultural ties to the land. The lagoons, the mountains, the flamingos, they're not just resources, they're part of a cosmology. When a company, often a multinational or a state-backed entity, arrives with a government concession, the promise is always the same: jobs, development, a share of the wealth. And it does create wealth, immense wealth. Chile's lithium exports are worth billions. But that wealth has a habit of flowing to capital cities and foreign shareholders, while the costs, the dried-up wetlands, the divided communities, the loss of a way of life, are hyper-localized. I think about my own home, Bangladesh. I've seen how the burdens of progress are never distributed equally. The communities on the front lines, those with the least political power, are asked to sacrifice the most. In the Lithium Triangle, you see protests, roadblocks, fierce resistance from some community members, while others, desperate for economic opportunity, see the mines as a lifeline. This fractures communities from within, pitting neighbor against neighbor. The lithium becomes a curse of division, forcing an impossible choice between cultural survival and economic survival. The promise of a green future, built for consumers in places like New York or Berlin, feels like a new form of colonialism to many here, an extraction of value that leaves behind a scarred and diminished land. And this leads us to the third layer, the global paradox. The entire rationale for this extraction is to fight climate change. Electric vehicles are meant to reduce carbon emissions. That is a noble, essential goal. But we've wrapped this goal in a myth of painless consumption. We imagine we can simply swap our gas car for an electric one and continue as before, with a clear conscience. But if the production of that clean car relies on a process that destroys ecosystems and communities, can we truly call it clean? We're just shifting the environmental burden from one place and one people to another. We're solving a global problem by creating localized sacrifices. That's not a revolution, that's a displacement. It's outsourcing the mess. Sitting in my apartment, looking at the city lights, I grapple with this. I am part of the demand. My work in tech, my life, is powered by these batteries. The unraveling thread, for me, isn't just about pointing a finger at mining companies. It's about confronting the uncomfortable complexity of our solutions. There are no easy answers. We absolutely need to transition away from fossil fuels. But we have to do it with our eyes wide open, with a commitment to justice that is as robust as our commitment to technology. So what's the way forward? The thread isn't meant to leave us in despair, but to illuminate a more difficult, honest path. First, it means demanding transparency and true circularity. We need to massively invest in battery recycling to reduce the need for virgin lithium. Second, it means listening to the communities on the ground and granting them not just consultation, but real consent and a meaningful share of the benefits. And third, for those of us at the end of the consumption chain, it means embracing a harder truth. The green revolution cannot just be about buying new stuff. It has to be about consuming less, using public transit, rethinking our relationship with mobility and energy altogether. The most sustainable battery is the one we don't need to mine for. The salt flats hold a mirror to our ambitions. They show us that a future built on extraction, no matter how green the branding, will always carry old curses. The challenge is to build a future that isn't just powered differently, but imagined differently. One where justice and sustainability are not competing goals, but the same goal. Where the unraveling thread leads us not to a broken end, but to a stronger, more connected weave. Thank you for listening. If this conversation resonated with you, please share this episode with one person. It's these discussions that start the real change. I'm Abnul J. Farabi. This has been The Unraveling Thread, produced by Light Knot Studios. You can find more of our work and join this ongoing investigation into the stories behind the stories at lightknotstudios.com. Until next time, take care.